Hey guys, welcome back to another video here at alliseeisW, where we talk about stocks, Bitcoin, and finance. Today, I wanted to cover the overall Bitcoin market as well as talk about a Bitcoin mining company that I believe has the potential to make significant bull runs through the rest of 2024 and potentially being the mini workhorse MSTR in 2025. I'll go through the reasons why I believe this Bitcoin miner has the potential to perform, or if you will, outperform MicroStrategy in 2025. Now, if you're new to this channel, I would really appreciate you hitting the like, subscribing for more related content. And just before we go through the details, I wanted to just overall cover the thesis around Bitcoin. There's just been so much hype market sentiment with Bitcoin. And we have seen the miners today. It's been just a green all around the Bitcoin miners. And we've seen Bitcoin mining companies lag behind the correlation with the rise in the price of Bitcoin. But with Bitcoin going above the 107,000 per coin today, that really resulted in a lot of the miners in the green today. And I think just with the overall ETFs that have been created with all of the inflows from all of the financial institutions, that really has set the stage where now people believe in Bitcoin and that it's not going away, along with the Trump administration being a pro-Bitcoin advocate and also advocating the United States to build on its strategic Bitcoin reserve. And we've heard Trump speak during the uh, Kentucky visit months ago, where he would like the United States to be the powerhouse, the leading country mining Bitcoin, as well as having that strategic reserve, similar to what we have with gold. And just with the overall Bitcoin cycle history, we know in the last two historical events, Bitcoin has risen and it's likely up through 2025 when the Bitcoin rally will continue. Question is, will it continue through Q2, Q3, or Q4 of 2025? Good news is we had our post-halving event back in April, and now we're in this bullish territory here. And just with the appreciation, with the HODL approach, we've seen this all around the recent markets where big companies like Mara and Riot making a big statement acquiring Bitcoin in addition to mining for Bitcoin. We'll talk further into this. And there's just been recent news around infrastructures, AI deals going on around the Bitcoin mining space. But I think this is really good sentiment that we're seeing and the overall potential government sponsorships that will be coming just with all of the sentiment that we're seeing going on right now. But I just wanted to just focus now and talk about the Bitcoin mining company that I believe has the potential to make big time bull runs. Uh, when you compare it to like companies like MicroStrategy and just with investors in MicroStrategy, congratulations to MSTR holders. I mean, you've made big bucks in the year 2024. MSTR has been the leading workhorse. The question is, will it continue to be the workhorse? It may possibly be so. The workhorse may continue, but I really do think that because the company's share price has gone up so much, there may be some profit taking in an overvalued company with MicroStrategy and reallocating that into more undervalued plays. And this is why today I'd like to talk about a Bitcoin company, RIOT Platform, ticker RIOT, that not much people are really talking about, although we've been seeing bullish signals coming in here. So before we talk about the fundamentals of RIOT, we'll first cover the overall share price, just looking at RIOT here. So we're looking at an overall trend chart of RIOT. I mean, it goes back to like 2020 through current state 2024 here. Just from a zoomed out perspective, we saw how RIOT back in like 2020, 2021, this was like only at the $2 range. And at one point, it hovered up to like the mid $70 range. And over the course of time, from the long-term perspective, we've seen the Ichimoku cloud hovering above the price and really bringing down that price with that gravitational pull down here. And it was until the 2023 range when we started seeing it gradually go back up. But just overall, I mean, just with the dormancy of this share price of Riot, I do think that now we're beginning to see that bullish signal as we zoom in, looking at like 2024 here. We've seen continued descending resistance, lower lows, higher lows just from like 2023 all the way up through 2024 until it was like recently, like October timeframe, when we saw that bullish signal, that reverse pattern change. We continue to see the gravitational pull down. So the Ichimoku clouds, I think of it as like clouds where if it's above the price where it currently stands, and it's going to bring down that price. Think of it as like gravity. However, as we zoom in to the more recent months here, September, October, the good news here is that we're seeing the Ichimoku clouds below the current price. And what I have circled here in teal would be the low points here. So we're seeing an ascending resistance. We're seeing lower highs, and we have so far one high point that we saw back in like November 12th, but we haven't seen the next highest high yet. I'm thinking that we're gonna start seeing Riot tests itself, whether it may bump up to like $18 end of this week, or are we gonna see like $20 or more, you know, heading towards the end of December. But from a share price standpoint, because we're beginning to see that RSI pick up, I see bullish patterns with Riot platforms. We can easily see 3 to 5x from here. I'm thinking that if we see, the break patterns come through here, once it breaks that $18 range here, resistance, we can start seeing that tier two at like $25, and we may see that even go 3x at like $45 and beyond heading into 2025. And that's really dependent on the steam of Bitcoin, where we saw Bitcoin today at like 107,000. I'm thinking that as we head into the new year, we're going to see Bitcoin break through that $150,000 range. And can you imagine how much Riot platforms will run? I think that $50 range should not be ignored, and there's that potential steam, especially since it's been just at the basement low when you look at it from a zoomed out perspective for many years now. Just let's go through some updates here with the Riot platform. So just today, I mean, Riot announced that with the additional proceeds from Riot's upsize, close to about 500 million in the coupon convertible bond issue with an interest rate of like 0.75%. The company actually did more buying of Bitcoin over the weekend, buying more at 667 Bitcoin with the price of 101,000. So it's good that Riot added more Bitcoin to the balance sheet, especially before that rise in Bitcoin price that we saw. And we know the bulk of what Riot purchased with Bitcoins acquired last week, that was around the price range of like 97,000. So great job with Riot increasing their holdings up to 17,429 Bitcoin, including what's been mined as of today. That's included, and that's currently valued at 1.8 billion based on the market price of Bitcoin at $103,000 per coin. So through this acquisition and mining production year to date, Riot has generated a Bitcoin yield per share of 36.7% quarter to date. So that just shows Riot's sentiment increasing their HODL, and I think companies like Riot, similar to like Mara, are really benefiting with the rise in the price of Bitcoin. And just looking at the share price of Riot, we've seen its share price be beaten down over the year, but I think what goes down will eventually pop back up. And I really believe Riot in 2025 has that potential upside to be one of the leading workhorse when you compare it to like MicroStrategy. Now, just wanted to share with you news here. Riot Platforms, I mean, back December 12th, not too long ago, the price surged as Starboard, a big time investor, makes a big investment in Riot, and now they're trying to talk Riot into getting into that AI pivot. So we know that there's been lots of sentiment going on in the Bitcoin miner space where companies like Iron, Bitdeer, Hut 8, they're all tapping into that AI space where now a lot of companies are generating service revenue by delivering AI service platforms to customers. And this is why I believe Riot has additional upside here when you compare it to like pure miner plays currently to like Mar or like CleanSpark. But overall, I think that we've heard it from the CEO Jason Less where he's open to ideas where he'd be willing to work with other investors to consider building on its infrastructure. So we know that Corsicana hasn't been fully developed with that facility, but just with that facility alone, with that 1 gigawatt potential, that allows Riot to pivot into potentially the HPC AI and scale up its data centers to support AI powerhouses like Amazon and Google Cloud. With AI demand exploding, Riot could leverage its infrastructure to ride the wave in this transformative tech cycle. And I believe the company's evolution over the course of the years, and Starboard is pointing to Core Scientific, a fellow Bitcoin miner turned AI infrastructure. I think with Core, for example, writing partnerships with NVIDIA backed CoreWeave, we've seen Core Scientific skyrocket. And I think that's where Riot is considering pivoting and getting into that space as well, getting those deals in place. And I think the clock is ticking and timing is everything. And that's why I think Riot really has that upside with its share price to start catapulting from here on out. With Starboard's plan to help Riot close the gap on its competitors, I think Riot has that big upside, as we head into that future of the tech infrastructure where we look at innovation and creativity. So definitely lots of upside that we see here with Riot platforms. And I think there's so much upside potential. Just looking at the numbers here, so Riot announces November production data back in like early December, so about 2 weeks ago. Just to keep in mind here that back in October, Riot mined about 505 Bitcoins, and back in November last month, they mined 495 Bitcoin. So steadily increasing their average Bitcoin produced per day. But I think that as the overall hash rate gets deployed at Corsicana, as well as replacing the miner fleet at the Rockdale facility with S21 Pro miners, the industry leading efficient mining devices out there, that's really going to improve on their exahash, building on the overall average Bitcoins produced per day, and really keep that overall cost to mine for Bitcoin at a low point, which is one of the staples of Riots. They keep their mining production at a low fixed cost. They have minimal debt on their balance sheet, and they're consistently producing Bitcoin by scaling up on their operational efficiencies as a vertically integrated Bitcoin supporting company. And can you imagine where the price of Rye can go if or when Riot announces that they were going to also tap into the HPC AI platform? I'm really thinking that Riot, as we head into 2025, because the share price has been beaten down so much, it's one of the lagging workhorses here when you compare it to like the top high-end, share price runners like MSTR. I think that Riot in 2025 may be the leading workhorse and have the potential to make huge gains, 3 to 5x at a minimum. So that's my assessment with Riot. And I'd love to hear what your thoughts are. Please leave your comments and questions down below. Thank you.